Hi guys and welcome to this video, and today is going to be a slightly different video from the normal because I'm going to be talking about the way I graduated university almost debt-free. And the reason why I decided to make this video is because I thought that some of the lessons that I learned and some of the things that I've done hopefully would be applicable to some of you in order to make the amount of debt that you're accumulating a little bit more manageable. And obviously all of this comes with the disclaimer that everybody's circumstances and experience are different, but hopefully some of the things and main lessons are going to be useful for you. So I started my bachelor's in University of Dundee in Scotland, and I moved there from Latvia, which is my home country. But initially I actually didn't want to study architecture. I applied for product design in the Netherlands, and I applied to Eindhoven Design Academy, which at the time, and I think it probably still is, one of the best product design schools in Europe, which I was really proud of. But I soon realized that the amount of cost that it would take was just above what I could afford. So things like health insurance, tuition fees, accommodation. And so that was actually quite heartbreaking because I had to come up with the alternative. And the best alternative I could come up with is to study in UK. And I knew that all the best product design programs are in London, which again wasn't quite affordable for me. So I made a decision at that point to be like, you know what, if I can't afford doing product design in those places that I can get the best education, why not try architecture in a related field? And if I do go for architecture, what would be the cheapest place I can possibly do it? And that's where Scotland came in, because at the time, if you were from EU country, you could get education for free in Scotland. Yay! So that's exactly what I've done. So I moved to Scotland and I lived really frugally. Like, I didn't buy anything I didn't need. I bought like the cheapest food and I got the cheapest accommodation, really a rough neighborhood that had like a football stadium next to our flat that had a game every Saturday and Sunday. Luckily my mom offered me support when I was studying there, and she actually took care of all the costs associated with it. And it was really a tough time for her as well because it wasn't cheap to do that. I think I actually remember nailing a couple of jobs, like a part-time jobs when I was in university, but kind of decided to decline those because I was anxious that they're gonna take away from the study time. And just to get around that problem, I would work in summertime to save up money to then go back in university. Things have changed after that a little bit when I moved to London for my first year out job, and it was a great practice. I loved working there, and I ended up commuting from my mom's place in Coventry all the way to London. It was about 2 hours a day total time on each side of the route, and so that was difficult, but I did manage to save up quite a lot of money to then be able to put that money back from my savings into then going to the uni and be a bit more relaxed this time in year 4 and year 5 in my master's. So I had that going for me. I also, I think, was managed to get like a small government loan at that point. And then finally in year 5, what I've decided to do is actually try to apply for a couple of jobs. And I got one in the summertime, just between the year 4 and 5. And they kept me for the part-time for the remaining of the year. And an interesting thing was that at that time, I realized that it's actually possible to combine part-time studies with education and also with personal relationships, because I got into a long-term relationship at that point as well. So somehow magically I was suddenly able to combine all those things together in year 5, which I thought is completely impossible in year 1 and during the undergraduate program. The other thing is regarding the loans that you take. It's worthwhile to kind of imagine, how do you see yourself paying off this debt? Chances are you will have to pay it back in full, and it might take a long time. And obviously the higher your debt, the more you have to repay. So a little bit of planning ahead is definitely better than doing nothing about it. I would also consider the prestige or perceived prestige of your school. Like, unless you're going to the very top universities, is it really worth paying extra for some universities versus others that offer cheaper tuition opportunities? opportunities. And I guess lastly, it's being adaptable with what kind of opportunities do you have. Like the reason why I got the part-time job, for example, as opposed to the freelance gig was that one, it offered a bit more stability in terms of like the salary. I knew that if I worked, for 2 days a week, I would get a certain amount of money at the end of the month. And it was great for me. For some other people, they kind of were more willing to embrace the uncertainty of a freelance gigs. With all of that being said, I think the key thing is the flexibility and persistence over the long period of time, because architectural education is not easy. The program is really challenging and it takes a lot of time to get through it. But anyway, I hope this video was somewhat useful. Let me know in the comments if you thought that it was useful to you. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next one.